Well, call me Saran Wrap because you know I keep things fresh. And if you want to take my rhymes to the test, I show you I'm the best. I make 'em rhymes with my mind and sound with my tongue, and don't ask my age because you know I'm young.
What happened?
What happened? Yeesh.
Okay, Saran Wrapper, what happened?
So I was working for the game, right? And I didn't know who the game was, really. I don't know if you guys know. Do you know who the game is? So
I have
that's
no
what
idea.
I was like, you know. And but apparently he's a famous rapper, not only famous rapper, a gangsta rapper.
Ooh.
And he has a big house in the hills. And the reason I'm there, he used to have beef with 50 Cent. So I think you have to say it that way. 50 Cent. It's not 50 cent.
Or cents. It's not plural.
50 cents. No. People would go by the house and shoot at it. The guy had drive-bys. Yeah.
At the game's house in the hills.
At the game's house in the hills up in Glendale.
Okay.
People would drive by and had shot at the house because he had that much rap beef going on with 50 Cent. And up the street lived Benji Madden from a band Good Charlotte. And down the street, a couple houses lived Joel Madden, his twin brother from Good Charlotte. So the guys from Good Charlotte, I'm doing work for them. And they were like, hey, we got this friend and needs some work done on his house. And he's like, they're putting up security stuff, because they had to put up all the security stuff because the guy's getting people shooting at him. Because
I hate it when it happens.
Like, yo, y'all don't roll right with me, or I don't know what, but they were shooting at him. He had 2 lions. Somebody shot the lions. Anyway, so I was hired there to help paint. And they put up a big security gate. And they wanted it painted flat black. So now it's all gangster rap. I mean, you're looking around and there's security.
Okay.
Things like that too. And Game is like, I don't know, he's in his early 20s at this point. This is years ago. Anyway, so we're working away, we're doing our thing, and the guy that I had some aerosol cans of black spray paint. It was like, it was real ornamental, and we're just, and so we had our stuff. We obviously painting, we have drop cloths, we have things out, and we left a bag of this aerosol, black aerosol spray can in the driveway. Mm-hmm. And he comes in. Here comes, here's the gate opens, and he comes in, and he just proceeds right in and drives right over the aerosol cans in his fancy rapper car.
Yeah.
And they went boom. I'm freaking out. Yeah. He's got like this cobblestone driveway. He's got it's like this Hemi thing. It's just, I'm freaking out. I'm so sorry. We'll get cleaned up right away, sir. I'm sorry. Oh, man, my bad, bro. No, man, don't worry about it. That's my crash car. Don't worry about that. So we were cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, it's a crash car. It's okay, guys. It's a crash car.
Crash car. I don't know what that is, but that sounds fun too.
I don't know it, but I would figure it's the one you could just roll over paint cans with.
That's the crash car. That's awesome. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So today's guest, we get too far, owns and operates a boutique custom specialist company who's transitioning not just the business, but his identity, because it's been so rooted in this highly creative and just mind-blowing art, faux art, refinishing, like you name it. Got to follow him on Instagram. We'll post that in the notes later on. But rebranding, changing his identity over to becoming just a simple residential repainting company that he can implement procedures and finally scale. I had the opportunity to meet him when he came to our place in San Diego, and he even brought me some awesome, I was here, Starbucks mugs from LA. And he's been a long-standing member of DYB, currently in Mastermind Group 4, and is coaching with Ron Ramsden. Paul Dybdahl, welcome to the show, my friend.
No, thank you.
How did you get started in this business?
Painting business. I always point to my brother. My brother was a painter before me. He's 10 years older than me. We never grew up together. It's an interesting story because we never grew up together. We have the same dad, different moms.
Hold on, time out. Brother from another mother.
Yes.
Got it.
And yes. And we'd never lived together. And like I said, he's 10 years older than me. So, when I'm 6, he's 16. When I was 10, he was 20. I remember visiting him and where he went to college and stuff, and memories. And I remember a couple of weeks when I was like 13, and he's 23, and he's teaching me how to paint our grandmother's place, stuff like that, but not a lot of interaction with it. And so I originally tried to make it as a rock star.
Yeah, actually, weren't you actually on TV? Or excuse me, MTV?
Yeah, we were everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I mean, we did our little thing, had our little splash. My son sent me a recording that he found on Spotify a couple weeks ago of a live show. I'm not going to tell you where to watch it or go, just don't listen to it. But it was interesting. But I had everything in my life came together. I got a record deal that we'd really been working on, and I also got my girlfriend pregnant and got married all in about a month's time. So I was like,
making moves, baby, making moves.
I was making big moves in life, and so that was my ex-wife now, but my wife, she was supportive and everything like that. But you're on the road, you're selling records, and you're doing things, and you're also with other band members, and it's it becomes a business. Music business is business. It is. So it's all about how much you sell. It's not about how great you are, and we weren't all that great either. So I came home from a tour not having any money. Not knowing what to do. My vehicle had broken down. I used to hang blinds. I was a blind man, and which is good. I'm 6'5". I can hang those suckers right up. But they used to lay me off. I'd say, "Hey, I'm going on tour," and they'd say, "Okay," and they'd lay me off on purpose so I could get unemployment. They were nice guys.
Yeah.
But it was long ago. Anyway. I didn't have any prospects. I had a child and a wife, and my dad said, "Well, call your brother." And at that point, I had never called him on the phone. I don't think I'd ever talked to him on the telephone. I had to be like, "Hey, Doug, this is Paul, your brother." And I'm like, I need a job. So he was a painter in the Painters Union up in San Francisco, Local 4. Come on up, I'll get you a job. And so that was one of the other times I had to change my identity.
Yeah, right.
Became an apprentice painter in the Painters Union, and the rest is history. I kind of went from there. So I'm a full trained apprentice. I went through Local 4, all 3 years of apprenticeship. I'm certified journeyman painter, journeyman scale, foreman, yada yada. I worked for Giampolini. I worked for Carl Sorensen. I worked for Jerry Thompson. Those are bigger name. If anyone's watching that knows those companies in the city, big high rises, commercial painting.
Okay. How long were you up there doing that?
I was in the Painters Union for 13 years. So I am vested. And my family started to grow, and and then I had about 6 kids. The Lord blessed me with a fruitful, bountiful amount of children. So I was in a place where I was making $1 an hour over scale, company truck foreman, and I really didn't feel I could make much more money in the situation I was in, unless my last name was the same as the owner's,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and the other thing with me, I would go to the union meetings. I would go. It was I'd moved in to buy a house. I moved out of San Francisco and moved to the Sacramento area. So then I was working in the Sacramento union we were there for like 5 years. And Sacramento union was really rah-rah, schools, And I just noticed things at the union that I just had a different worldview. Mentally, I thought differently. It was weird. I'm like, I kind of understand where the owner's coming from, bro. I always did. I don't know. I had a story where, I was doing this hospital. They always put me on hospitals. And it was a 6-story hospital, and the top 3 floors were open balcony style. They had, open with a balcony and a handrail around. And we were doing the exterior, and we were spraying the handrails, and we were using this dry fall DTM specialized stuff that we could spray. We're 6 stories up, and it's kind of blowing out, and
dusting all over.
Feet's going to turn to dust and all that, But I'm up there, and I look down, and I see my boss, or the guy he was the owner's son. The owner had died. The son took over and was more businessman, didn't know about painting as much as he did business. So, but then anyway, he's down there and he's puffing away on cigarettes, and this guy's pacing.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him. I'm like, wow. I'm like, he is. Oh. And I went down and I said, dude, are you sleeping? Well, where's that spray going in? What do you guys got going in? He's just asked me every question about the job. He's all full of anxiety and smoking. And I'm just like, wow, this guy, he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders. We just show up. We just show up. All the liability is on this guy. And so I empathized with him, and then you go to a union meeting and they say, well, these owners are just getting rich off of our labor and blah, 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 which, and they're giving you a job, bro. You're showing up. I'm not trying to poo-poo any of it, because I'm proud of my union apprenticeship. I wish there was something that hopefully the PCA or someone smarter than me can think of that Nick Slavic, he's doing good things. That Slavic kid's doing good stuff. But, maybe they can make a national type of apprenticeship, because that was wonderful what I went through. If what I learned as an apprentice, I wish, if you want to be a craftsman painter, that could be something that you could send somebody to, or, go to, because I learned from some old timers, old tricks, but then every 3 months you went to apprenticeship school for a week, and the union subsidized your income. You had to go 40 hours. It was very boring. And you learned about what paint does to you physically, your body. And you could always tell if an apprentice went to school the next week, he was just fully geared up with all the respirator. He was like suited, like, he was, because they just tell you all this stuff's going to harm you, which is good to know. It's good to know all that. You got to keep yourself safe. You got to keep yourself healthy. At the time, I know this is, 20, so man, I'm getting old. It's almost 30 years ago. They would say the statistic in the union was that the average union painter collected 13 retirement checks. And that was it.
Ooh.
They said, so keep yourself, yeah. Was it bad?
Ouch.
Now, guys were smoking as they were spraying solvent and whatever, but
Yeah.
I actually have seen guys that cut the hole in their thing and smoke.
Yeah. Oh, man. My grandfather used to hang from the swing stages in Detroit, and he said, he said, they'd all go to the bar because they swore that the alcohol killed the lead.
Yeah, that was a thing too.
Yeah.
The type of paint. I worked with guys that said they physically would just scoop the lead out of the bag, put it in the paint.
Oh my.
It was good stuff, man. That was the good stuff. They don't know what to talk about, these guys at the EPA and all. That stuff was good. The stuff they got nowadays ain't worth nothing.
Oh boy.
I've turned it. I tried not to turn into one of those painters.
Yeah. It's as we age, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, you're moving along, going, and you're starting to see and empathize with the owner.
Well, so I wanted to get my own contractor's license, and I've always been somewhat entrepreneurial minded. And like I said, I didn't feel like I could really earn any more. I'd become a Christian. I had a large family, and I was trusting in the Lord. And circumstances happened that I moved back to Los Angeles. I'm originally from Los Angeles. I kind of got out when San Francisco was painting, kind of slid over to the east in Sacramento, and then they pulled me back into SoCal.
There you go. There it is.
Yeah. So I tried to wear it proudly,
Mm-hmm.
and embrace everything. I live out in Lancaster, California. Lovely Lancaster, California, in the Antelope Valley, northern Los Angeles County.
So,
and,
go ahead.
It's dry here. I where we lived, it was green and lush, a little bit of snow, lots of rain, foresty. Our house had we had enough. The house we lived in there, we had deer that had would give birth in the forest behind our house, and we knew all the birds, and it was just a wonderful country living. Here, there's desert. The tree is the Joshua tree. It's a spiny.
Okay.
Dry.
Yeah.
It's just So in an effort to embrace my surroundings, once I got here, I got my contractor's license once I got here. So that's another thing. I plopped into Los Angeles County, up, northern LA County. I never lived here. And I have 6 kids and a wife. Now I just sold my house, which I did good on at the time. We bought it for a certain amount. I got a certain amount. I was like, cool, I'm styling. But I didn't know anybody here in LA to that I worked with. I knew guys that, when I was singing in a band, but I didn't, nobody wants me, anyway. My cousin had worked for Suzanne Summers for she still does his whole career. He's been her handyman construction guy. And so that's who I got my first work from. And I worked for Suzanne Summers.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Three's Company, right?
But yeah, so it was weird. Yeah, you'd sing that the whole time you were there.
Yeah.
Take a step that is new.
So for the younger bucks, it was an old sitcom.
Yeah, right. Suzanne Summers in a show called Three's Company.
Yeah.
And then after that, she was a genius. They are genius. So smart. Her and her husband, they had that Thigh Master.
Yeah.
And she didn't just advertise for it. They invented it. And
really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes. And they own it. And then she has Summer Size, which is her diet stuff, and Summer line of clothing wear, and anything, Summer Spa, all the bath wear, all the bath stuff, spa stuff. Mm-hmm. Some of the best bathroom deodorizer I've ever used. Really?
What a cool name though. Summer Size, right? To be able to Summers is her last name. Summer Size. You want to get into the right summer size for summer. That's brilliant. Brilliant branding.
Yes. And it was actually I was going to tell a funny little story about the beginning when I went to her daughter's place and she was outfitting some clothing. And but I did everybody in that was she didn't quite have the clothing outfitted right.
Uh-oh.
She came to the door, and that was We had to shield our eyes. Anyway,
Okay.
yeah, I did work for her whole family, though. That was quite a thing. And then she introduced me to Patrick Duffy, which is a co-star of hers. So I did his place. And then, so my work started growing down in the area of Brentwood and Beverly Hills.
Mm-hmm.
I did like vice president of Lionsgate's house. And it was, let me back up. One of the things that I got interested in I came out of a rock band.
Mm-hmm.
I was like going to be a rock guy, rocking out. And now I'm going to be a painter. Mm. And I work with my brother. Now, I love my brother. And the one thing about my brother that we did learn is we're not only brothers from another mother, we are twin brothers from another mother.
Hey.
That guy and I, it's the weirdest thing ever. I told you, I never grew up with him. We never were in the same house. Really didn't know. We're exactly alike. It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, we're alike in many ways anyway. We wear the same glasses. We have the same mannerisms. My house looks like his house. Yeah. My car looks like his car. My garage looks like his garage. People are like, we just are the same. I'm like, okay. It helps you with the faults you have because you go, that's genetic. My brother does that too. Look, it's just genetic. That's provable. I didn't know. But so when I was in the union and I went to apprentice school, they did introduce faux finishing. That's where I was introduced to it. We went to class one week, and that was the subject. And then the teacher of the apprenticeship school was pretty into faux. That was his thing. He was into the artistic side. And I just thought, an outlet of creativity that I can, because what I started to talk about my brother is my brother, he can be, he's type A personality, and that dude wants to put the paint on the walls. Yeah. If you don't have 10 gallons on by 10 o'clock in the morning, you're a loser.
Get her done.
He'll tell you're a loser. He'll say, how long did it take you to paint that door frame? Gosh, we're all getting paid here the same in the union. Jeez, I don't know what you're doing. He'll straight up. He has no care of. He'll just straight tell you. Yeah. So under that, I always work, and then I get to work with him because I'm his brother. Hey, you get to work with your brother. Great. Yeah. So, he's a good guy. But so when I saw the faux, I just got instantly, attracted to it. And I bought this book from the apprenticeship teacher of Painted Finishes by the Marxes. We would watch videos, all this stuff. So once it got computers, once a computer come around, I started looking these people up. And I found like all the stuff I had was all oil-based and medium. The oil-based glazes, oil, that's all anything was oil-based that you're going to make a rich colors. If you're going to do wood graining, all this stuff, and you want real vibrant colors, you're going to use oils. That's all they had. I noticed that most of the people that I really liked were using a product called Faux Effects.
I remember Faux Effects.
So look them up. They're in Florida. I was going to take a trip to Florida and take the classes there. I found classes here in Los Angeles and at Faux Master Studio. So that was the other thing. I got my contractor's license, moved to LA, went and took the 5-day designer walls class at Faux Master Studio, and instantly started working for these people in Beverly Hills and Brentwood. One of the first jobs I did after the Faux Masters class, it was just mind blowing. I don't know how I get myself in these situations. The guy was a vice president of Lionsgate Pictures. You take him up there. My cousin takes me up there, and he says, this guy, he just had all this work done on his house by these faux finishers. I'm like, okay. And he goes, and they just put in this frame and he wants you to match what the other guys did. I'm like, okay, you know. So I get there and it's like, I'm looking and I ask, well, who did this? And they're like, the guy Mike Hoppy from Faux Masters. He's the instructor of the Faux Masters class. He had done the job. Now I just took the class and I've got to match his work. It's my first job out the gate. What are the odds?
Yeah.
What are the odds of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So, I did it. It worked out.
Yeah.
I always say I get lucky, but I think God guides my hands a lot of times.
Yeah.
That's one thing I do like about faux finishing is I get to mimic what God does, and I mimic God's art. That's the way I think of it. But I've taken a lot of their classes at Faux Master Studio, and just used their products basically my whole career. So, shout out to Faux Effects and Faux Master.
Yeah, I remember back in the day in Florida, we back when we used to have PDCA chapters. Remember those? The chapters?
Oh, yeah.
Chapter meetings? Yeah.
Yes, I met Josh Abramson at a PDCA chapter meeting.
There it is. And we took a tour of the Faux Effects place one time. So, yeah, really neat. Good people. Cool stuff. So you get this job and you kind of get started and you start leaning towards faux work rather than painting. So you go from hanging on swing stages and blowing dry fall, which is kind of the almost polar opposite of faux painting, right?
Yeah.
That's an extreme. Okay.
Yeah. When I was, I don't mean to interrupt you. When I was in the Painters Union, when I was on my way out working in Sacramento, I was doing the Kikkoman soy sauce plant in Folsom, and that's a food plant. So everything you do there has to be this high epoxy, like this gonna kill you epoxy. That you every day I had to Vaseline up, and fully suit up, glove up, tape up, sock over the head, the goggles that had the little window that you could, little film.
Yep.
And just completely, as soon as you do suit up, you're like, I have to go to the bathroom now. But never failed.
Yeah.
But and then you're checking mill thicknesses of how thick you're mixing this epoxy with. I mean, and this epoxy that you're using is spec'd by whoever, and it doesn't. I mean, it's like the thinner for it doesn't even have a name. It's like called thinner number 9.
Yeah.
And you're just like, and I'm spraying this stuff and putting these epoxy coatings on, and then another job had come up in the mall that they needed a faux finish on. So I'm doing that one at night. So in the daytime, I'm working, and I start running the job and I'm running everything. So I'm doing epoxy work, and then I go over and I'm doing faux finish work. It was just a complete opposite of anything, this industrial painting. And then I'm over here at the store doing this faux. Yeah. I like the faux. I like it. It's something that not everyone does. You have a creative outlet.
Who are some other interesting clients you've had the opportunity to work with?
I wrote some of them down. Who was I working with? I did the guy from Lionsgate, Patrick Duffy. I did Joel and Benji Madden from Good Charlotte, and it's good. I didn't know who they were either, so that was good to fun because I didn't have any idea who they were, and then I just got hired to be in their house, and I don't know. I'm a little naive. I'm weird. I don't know. I walked into Benji's house and I was like, oh my gosh, who is decorating this? And they wanted me to paint something. I'm like, I'll do it. Yeah. Jeez. I'm like, who is
not posting this one?
Who's decorating for your girlfriend, man? What's this up? It just looks silly.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to, he's all tatted, no sleeves, tatted up. Yeah. And, what's up, man? He's got the eyebrow thing, and he's just, and it's like, oh man, your house doesn't look like, I don't know.
Not very manly.
I don't know. So yeah, I was at his house, and I'm gonna do his cabinets. Now they told me they want pink underneath, black on top, and distressed, so that the pink is showing through the black, right? So I give him a sample, and he's like, and I got there, it was like 11 o'clock, and he's got a personal assistant, and I'm like, hey, I need him to approve my sample if this is what he wants. So she goes, gets him. He's coming out of bed. He doesn't even have a shirt on, so he's just like, And I'm like, hey, man, I need to know, do you want this or this or that? And I'm like, do you want? And he's like, oh, man, I really don't care, bro. I don't really care. I'm like, listen, this is costing you a lot of money. And you want this pink and that pink? I said, dude, what do you want on your crown molding? I said, you didn't even know you had crown molding, because your crown molding is the same color as your ceiling and your walls and your crown molding, all the same color. But look at that crown molding. You don't even see it. I said, man, I can make your house look, I used the word bitching. I'm sorry. The family friend. I said, dude, I can make your house look awesome. And you don't care. And he goes, well, I mean, what can you do? I guess, dude, I got this friend that's a designer. He's actually working right down the street. Let me call him up, and I'm going to have him come over and talk to you. Well, I did that. And my designer friend, he's awesome. And he works too far away anymore, but he's the most creative guy. And that actually helped me. If you guys are going to if you listen to the podcast, getting into stuff, you get a designer to work with that work well with, that knows. I don't have that vision, but you work with someone with vision, because you could paint the best paint job there is, but if it don't look good, man, it don't look good, So this guy came over, and he talked to Benji, and man, we redid this whole dude's house. But I did get a call from Benji's business manager saying, what have you done? Do you know this guy has unlimited funds? He's like a kid in a toy store now. He's going to spend it, and we don't have this kind of money to be spending on his. We redid his whole house.
Yeah.
And that was quite an experience, because then he was on MTV Cribs came. So we were doing his house then. He had a studio in his basement. I redid his whole studio in his basement. And that was fun too, because at the time, my kids were little. I go, hey man, do you mind if I bring my son to work with me tomorrow? And he goes, oh yeah, man, that's cool, bro. I used to go paint with my dad too. I go, really? He goes, yeah, my dad was a painter, man. I go, you know what's a trip, dude? I used to be a rock star. He's like, really? And so I chatted with him.
Yeah.
He comes back next day. He goes, hey, man, you know John from, he tells me the band. I'm like, oh, yeah. The band was called Electric Love Hogs at the time. He goes, you know John from Electric Love Hogs? He's in I forget the name of the band he's in now. He's he became Goldfinger was his name of the band, punk band. A big band, big producer at the time. He goes, yeah, man. He said, he used to play with you guys. So you used to play in Hollywood. It used to be. I go, yeah, man, we used to play. He's like, bro, yeah. So I brought my kid and all that. Yeah. When I finished up all the work for him, I took I still had 7-inch singles of our stuff. I took my 7-inch single and I put to Benji from Paul. Thanks for all the work. And I signed a record and I gave it to him.
Yeah, right on. That's awesome.
But then we went down to his brother's house, Joel, after that. And Joel at the time was dating Hillary Duff, which was kind of fun. I don't know if you know who she is. She was a Disney star. Okay. She's still an actress, whatever. But you see Hillary Duff and walk in, and she's like, hi, I just made cookies. You guys want a cookie? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have Hillary Duff cookies. I did all kinds of work for him there. He had the same business manager as Benji, who would yell at us for all the work we're doing and all the money we're spending. And then we went and did the business manager's house.
That's awesome.
We have some unique skills.
Yeah, you do. What was it like working for Snoop Doggy Dogg?
Snoop was cool.
Yeah.
Different than you would think. Definitely different than you'd think. Um, the place I worked at was in Inglewood and Inglehood. I
Yeah.
mean, well, the Jack in
All
the
that stuff are no
Box.
good.
Oh yeah, the Jack in the Box had bulletproof glass, where the people like you walk in the lobby and they're behind bulletproof glass with the registers, and they hand you your food through the thing. It's like you feel like you guys behind the glass. I'm feeling safe out here. But yeah, the Jack in the Box by Snoop Dogg's place
Yeah.
has bulletproof glass in front. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I don't know if you've seen those situations. That kind of a town.
I got
Very
within.
nondescript. You pull up, and the only thing that looks kind of good is the little security thing. You push that button, and if you have the right word to say, that the gate will open up.
Yeah.
If and then it's this compound. The gate opens up into it is the gate opening up, and then there's Wonderland behind it, and all of his cars are there.
Yeah.
Any video you've seen of Snoop's stuff and all those cars bouncing up and
So
down.
he actually owns them. He didn't rent them like a lot of guys do.
They're all there. Or if he didn't, he has that kind of car. They're all. It's just like a car lot of these classic Cadillacs, and I'm not a car guy, but all that. And then he's got a big bus that's his team bus for the football team that he sponsors. And yeah, it is. You kind of have to work your way through all these cars, and you're like, okay, I have a big van. Don't hit the car. Apparently someone hit the car, one of the cars when I was there. Yeah, we all got questioned, and they saw somebody on. Well, the reason I know is because they said they were reviewing the footage of the incident, and the lady, boss lady, that's his wife, noticed me taking pictures.
Yeah.
And they said, no, he's just taking pictures of his work. That's the guy that does the door. And she was like, okay, he's cool. So
you get a pass.
But yeah, everything. So Snoop, everything's through Boss Lady. That guy is a married man. He's faithful to his wife. She runs the show. Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
okay.
Yeah, you wouldn't think it.
I don't remember that song, but okay.
No. Yeah. Yeah. No. She's behind the scenes, and he's faithful to her. And
well, I'm glad to hear that he's faithful to her.
He's neat and clean. He's a clean freak. Everything's clean. Smells clean. Everything's clean. You gotta be clean. You can't be. You know what I mean? He's not like just jacked up guy. You get there, and the first thing they say is, "There ain't no smoking no weed all over the place around here." They say, "Boss lady don't like this place smelling like weed. Everybody thinks it's all cool to smoke weed because of Snoop. It ain't." So but they did have a designated smoking area.
Okay.
And that was interesting because that had all of your whatever you wanted in that realm was there in the smoking area.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and I had to do work near there. So people would imbibe and trip out on my stuff.
She had to sit there and entertain them every time they come out, and we're just, whoa.
Oh, man, that's not real wood, bro. It's a trip. How'd you get that on there, man? Because the doors I did these big doors, and they were steel. Yeah. And I put a magnet up there. It looked like wood. But
and you wood grained them, right? Yeah. I remember seeing pictures. They were awesome.
And I did inside the studio. His kids were in there. I didn't know whose kids were. I'm like, who's those kids? Oh, that's his kids. Don't you watch TV? I'm like, no. So I think it's better not to know who these people are.
Yeah.
Apparently I met a lot of people. I don't know who they are.
Right. Yeah. When I was young, I was into all this stuff, before I started living for the Lord. And then afterwards, like, time goes by, and I'm actually encouraged that I don't know most of the names these days. It's just like I don't know and anymore, and then that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, when I was working for the game, I was
Mhm.
like, "Hey, man, what do I call you? Do I call you the game? Game? What do I'm He started laughing just like that. He's like, "Man, my name's JC Young. Call me Jay."
Yeah.
All right, Jay.
I
Cool.
remember when you first told me
Bye-bye.
about him, I was like, "Who's the
But he
game?"
liked that.
Yeah.
Because like the business manager guy who I told was
Yeah.
staying about that got
Mhm.
upset at me. This guy, it's like he walked up there and he completely changed. Like, "Yo, game, what's happening, bro? How y'all?" I'm like, "What happened to you? You like, no, I'm not. Yeah, I don't. So yeah,
Right,
I
right.
they appreciate that.
Yeah.
I got to work for after. No, it was before Snoop. I got to work for a punk rock icon named Glenn Danzig in a band called Misfits.
I've seen the logo on
You've
shirts,
seen that
with
logo from Misfits,
the black T-shirts.
yeah, and
Mhm.
like one of Glenn's maybe more commercial famous songs is the song that's the beginning of that movie Hangover, The Hangover. It's like right after they pan out to the desert and he's singing a Johnny Cash song, or he wrote the song for Johnny Cash and then he's doing it. So it's like,
Okay.
oh, the blood, oh, that guy. That guy's house was scary. Like
Oh.
Benji Madden and Joel Madden, there's these punk rock kids that do this
Mhm.
punk, we're the kids in America, this poppy punk stuff. Like Glenn Danzig is like, "I'm gonna eat your children,"
Oh, no. Oh, man. Yeah,
and it
that's tough.
showed.
Yeah.
It was
Oh,
scary. It was
oh, man.
scary there. He had gargoyles and demonic stuff everywhere, and
Yeah.
really concerned about his cats.
Really?
Yeah, anything. He was like, "Hey, bro, whatever you do, don't let my cats out." And he is another one. Like most celebrities, you never see him. Like the game he ran over the paint cans, blew
Mhm.
up the game.
I was waiting for you to say they all pulled out their nines or
No,
or
they
whatever,
all.
their
You know
Mac
what? The
11s.
fun thing about working for the game too was like he did have that big posse around,
Yeah.
and they all came up and would hug me every
Wow.
day. I would come
Yeah.
to work,
Yeah.
and I had to get rung in. And you have to get in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the guys, either they'd be waking up or there or whatever, and everyone that would pass by, Paul, and they'd hug me.
That's cool.
They're all just, it
Yeah.
was nice. It was beautiful, kind of,
Yeah.
It was fun. I did
Mhm.
I did a front door for him, and then the front door they had security glass put in. They had bulletproof glass put in the door.
That's
So
what you
I had
do.
to wood grain the front of the door, and then he liked it. He's
Yeah.
like, "Can you do the other side?" I'm like, "Yeah." So at the
There
time,
you
it was like $1,700 for this door. He's
go.
like, "How much for the other side?" I'm like, $1,700.
So let's shift gears here a little bit. You also do a lot of volunteering for the youth in your community. You do sports. What do you call it? Announcements? How do you MC?
Yeah, just like I can impersonate a stadium announcer.
Okay, ready, go.
Ladies and gentlemen, introducing Steve Burnett from the DYB podcast. No, I just have been able to do that since I was a kid. Since
Yeah.
when we were kids, The Price is Right was on, and Don Pardo did all the announcing.
Mm.
Don Pardo, tell them what they've won. It's a brand new car. Same time. Anyway, so I could always do that. Or the guy, Bruce Buffer. Ooh, let's get ready to rumble. And so when my kids were in Little League,
Mm-hmm.
I could impersonate the stadium announcer from Dodger Stadium. His name's Eric Smith. I would work on his voice. I would listen to it and work on it. And before I ever did anything on the mic or anything, in the Little League, I just said, "Hey, does the PA system work?" And they were like, "Yeah." And I have 7 kids, and so I always would volunteer for my kids just because I just want to make sure no one's jacking with my kids. And plus, I want to be there. If I can be there, I can be there. That's part of why I started my own business, so I could have the time to be with my kids. And so I took advantage of that as much as I could. Everybody always tells you, spend as much time with your kids when they're young as you can because it goes really fast. I did that. That's one of the things I can say I did. I took every advantage of being with my kids all the time. They're all grown, and I don't regret a thing.
Yeah, great kids too.
I attribute it to that I was present, and I attribute it to God answering prayer. Really, I just pray for my kids a lot. And the kids are very successful, and all I can think of is that God answered my prayers.
Yeah.
But so I went in I was like, does the sound booth work? Yeah, okay. And so I was like, check this out. I'll announce the game. And I was like, now batting, number 5, Timmy Smith. And they were like, wow, that's awesome. Can you do that again? So I did the all-star tournaments and all the playoffs and everything. And then the same kids play in youth football. So they were like, the football people asked me, hey, can you announce our football season? I don't have kids play football. I don't really know much about football, but I just try to announce the kids' names, and I did it. I volunteered every Saturday. I didn't realize I was doing all this volunteering. I didn't realize I was doing it. I'm just doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just do it. And eventually the kids grew up, and they started going to high school. And I got a call from the high school. Hey, we got a bunch of parents here from the Booster Club said you announced their kids, and they'd like you to announce here at the high school. All right. I went and got vetted and took all that background stuff, and so I started doing it for the high school. But then the parents had parents from the Little League that were coaches at the college. So they coached the softball team at the college. Matter of fact, here is my championship rings.
Oh my, look at that. Look at those big.
I get another championship ring.
Knuckle draggers. Yeah.
It says.
So for our listeners on the podcast, there it is, Dybdahl. Yeah. He's got some great big championship rings he's showing us.
I got another championship ring in another week. They sized me for it. So I've been announcing for the women's softball at the college for probably 12 years. And then we used to have a minor league baseball team in town. They were a single A team, started with the Astros, then they went to the Rockies. And they gave me a call one day and said, hey, we've heard you around town. Can you announce? And I did. And it used to be 72 games a season. And I did it for 7 years. I was the announcer. But I still continued to do it at the high school for the high school football teams, high school basketball teams. I don't know. It's a weird thing to do. It's fun, I guess. People ask me. I never ask anybody to do it. I asked the first time at Little League, and that's the only time I've asked to do it.
And it just took off.
And then they just asked me to do it. So we were at just before we left is that, I did last weekend, I did do the closing ceremonies for Little League. And I've done that now for generations where kids that I coached, their kid was in the Little League this season. It's like, oh man, I'm getting old. But it helps you around town because I know everybody. And so when bringing it to the DYB, one of the crazy things I did, because I know everyone, I volunteered, I kind of have a big personality. I have a lot of kids. I coach, I do all that. And, met Steve because my last name Dybdahl, DYB, all that. So we start doing that stuff. And I'm on the periphery. I start just implementing some of the DYB process, just a few things in my business. And it started helping. And one of the things was I went to a house, I got a call, went to the house, did the estimate, and I'm talking with the client after I've got the job. And he was like, yeah, we had about 4 other guys come and estimate. And I'm like, I didn't know that. And he goes, you were higher than everybody. And so using one of your questions, I said, well, why did you hire me as your painter? And he said, well, because we know you. We don't know those other guys. We know you. I didn't know that guy. I've never been. He's seen me everywhere.
Yeah.
I kind of know who he was. I've probably announced his kid's name, but I don't know. I've had that happen to me 3 times that I've asked. And they said, well, we know you. Or what, we see you everywhere. We know who you are. So that, it was very interesting, to me to know that, like I said, I didn't know I was volunteering. I didn't know I was doing this stuff. I really was doing it for the kids and whatever intentions and being out there. But it was having an impact that I didn't realize around town. And I literally do know everybody. But so when it comes to, there you go, it's been years. And as you get a bit older, you can't do everything. And I need to in learning this and so finally decided to dive in and go for it full force in the DYB because I'm realizing, hey, I'm getting a little older and I can't do all this by myself. I can't make enough money. It's fun to do the faux finishes, but it does not make me money. I'm straight up. If someone has figured out how to do faux finishes and they make money, it's because they have a crew of people that do it. You can't do it by yourself. You just can't do it. You can't charge enough. I mean, you could maybe for a few jobs, but not on a longevity scale that's going to make anything make sense. And I didn't realize that. Well, you're struggling along, you're trying to figure it out, and you're talking to Steve. Now I said I've met Josh Abramson. When I first saw Steve here, when I first saw you on the internet, I was like, well, these guys don't paint.
I remember that.
My ego. And Josh Abramson, he don't know how to paint. And I think one of the bigger problems I've had is that I am so darn good. I am such a master painter. No, I'm only joking, tongue in cheek there, but it is. It's my ego. It's my identity. I'm not good at a lot of things, but I'm good at this. And so that's, hey, I'm going to do that. One of the things I've been learning as I get older is don't focus on the things you're bad at, focus on the things you're good at. But, so I remember I was a couple of things about the DYB and joining and doing the coaching, because now I'm going to do the coaching. It's going to be an extra cost. And it's a cost that you're like, ooh, okay. And I remember the first couple of meetings after the first month, I was like, dang, I paid all this money this month and I don't know everything. I haven't learned everything yet. And, but then what you do is each time you have these meetings, each time you're going through these things with people, you pick up a nugget and you're going down the road and you pick up another tidbit here and a tidbit there, and it builds, and you learn. You're learning. You don't learn everything at once, and it's a process of learning. So I had to figure that out first, and it had been about a year in. And you're very kind, Steve. You're very patient, and your approach is that way. You're empathetic. And so you were telling me in so many ways, but you're letting me figure it out myself. I remember saying to you, I have to stop doing faux finishes, don't I? And you went just like that. And I said, I have to change my name of my business too, just to painting. Yeah. And it's hard. It was hard. It's still hard. I still do. Don't tell Steve this, but I still do faux finish. And I still kick myself. It's that part of it hasn't changed. I did a job this week. Guy had styrofoam beams, those big styrofoam beams that they put up, the fake ones. And somebody from the styrofoam beam company had come and finished them or whatever. They came finished, I guess, with a stain. I don't know. I didn't do it. But in installing them, they just wrecked it, scratched it. The scratch is going the wrong way, in a couple big beams, big ones. And this guy that's that installed him. He's a local guy, and he's like, dude, I need you to help me. Can you please? And he's begging me to get there. And I'm like, okay. He's like, I know you can do it. I've seen your work. I know it. All right. And he's giving me a lot of work, a lot of referrals. He's a good dude. So, and I could tell he was not getting paid on this job is probably the deal. And he needed it fixed, and he couldn't. I mean, I really don't know how I did it. I really don't. I really, that was a weird one where I prayed about it. I don't tell everyone all I do all the time, but I really had to pray. And I asked the Lord to guide my hand because I cannot figure this out. It's just the way somebody else had tried to fix it and the way they had done it, I couldn't do it without painting the whole thing and starting over. And that wasn't an option. And I was just, it took me a second to do, but I did it. And, I guess it took about 5 or 6 hours of time that I didn't expect to do. And it worked out, and it worked out great. Well, how much do I charge him for that? How much? He's my friend. Like I said, it took 6 hours or so, like full day. I don't know, bro. I'll charge you $400. He goes, here's 5.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So then I also had a job yesterday where it was a client I'd done years ago. I'd done several houses for them now over the years, and straight painting. We'd done their cabinets, just no straight white. They have rentals. She's got a rental that they're trying to sell. Hey, they just moved out. Can you paint a couple bedrooms? How much per room? They took the carpet out. Okay, it's an empty room. All right, $250 a room, and $750 for the master, and master bathroom, all that. Okay, I got there at 12:30. I had the 2 bedrooms painted by 4:00 by myself. I got my guys on another job, and so I went there by myself and painted 2 bedrooms for $500 in 4 hours. Way quicker money. I didn't have to think about anything. I have to pray about it.
Yeah, you didn't. And you can delegate it. You can teach it,
and I can delegate it. And then starting to see then the standard operating procedure was a eye opener. It was a mind blower. That okay, that's how you do it. And then so just figuring out we're just going to do straight painting, taking those jobs on, trying to change the identity into we're going to hire guys, and then that whole mindset. And I prided myself on being an excellent painter, an excellent craftsman. And now what I've learned is that's not the most important thing, really. The most important thing is the client's experience and your company's, image and process and experience with the client. Again, you can do the greatest paint job ever, but if you don't give them a good experience, if it don't look good, it ain't good,
Right on.
And so we have been working on training. You have to train yourself to train. We learned that we don't know how to teach painting. So we work on teaching painting. You blew my mind when you said, well, okay, I'm going to hire. Okay, Paul, you're going to hire a guy. Yeah, I'm going to hire a guy. I got a guy coming. All right. What does his first day at work look like? What does his first 2 weeks look like? I don't know. I thought I'd just throw him out there like you do a kid in the water, like you see the old timers. Well, you don't know how to swim, huh? Well, come here, son. They just check in the water. You know how to swim now. That's what we do. That's how I would do with my employees. They'd show up. All right, well, get in there and work. Show me what you got. They don't know what to do. And I don't know, I hadn't even thought about what we're teaching them and what we're going to do. So that, as it does, it changed my whole mindset to that. And started to see the rewards of the scaling and being able to, I've done several jobs where I haven't gone to.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't
Right
go,
on.
turning down work. Who turns down work? What are you doing? But, that has, it's like I said, it's that learning process and going down that road and picking up those nuggets. And, it's like a podcast. Well, I didn't learn everything I needed to know out of that podcast. Yeah, but you listen to several podcasts, you're going to learn a lot.
Yeah.
Just like having chickens. I've just learned a lot about chickens lately.
That's awesome. I'm enjoying your chicken journey too.
Well, my youngest daughter just graduated high school, and she's going into the Air Force. So I'm going to be an empty nester.
Okay.
None of my kids are going to be in the Antelope Valley where I live. So I went and got chickens. So I filled the nest. I knew I need something to focus on. So
yeah. It's awesome.
It's been quite a chicken journey.
Right on. Well,
I have chickens right behind me.
They're right there.
They're a month old. There's 4 of them in this little pen here. And then I have another special needs wing over here.
Get your own chicken hospital. Well, I really appreciate you getting up, and I think it was 6 a.m. for you there, West Coast, to come on and to share your story with us. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to know you and to work with you. And it's always a great time. A lot of times in our meetings too, I'll have to pause because we'll just have so much fun. Hold on. We have to take care of some business, And so, but as we roll out here, is there a question I should have asked or a final point you would like to make?
Well, no. I'm glad we went on the subjects we went on, and that you asked me those fun questions, and that we did have some time to discuss things. The only thing that I've been dealing with lately is mindset and things like that. I thought I was gonna talk all about that because lately I've come out of a strange time where my mindset wasn't right, had some personal things go on in life that kind of changed up, and I didn't have the clear vision and things like that. But it's a strange thing as I get older. What ambition is a big thing for me. What makes, what causes people to be ambitious? What causes you to continue to get up and work? What is your vision for? Things like that. And I think, and I'm grateful that as I get older and I get a little frost on the chin, that I still am ambitious. I still, when I was in a rock band, I was 22, 23 years old, and man, we practiced every single night. I would be out. I met a lot of guys at midnight. A bunch of us would go to all the bars and the club, whatever club was hot that night. We'd be standing there at midnight, handing out our flyers, handing out our brand, handing out our stuff to have people come to our show. I used to stand there. You know who stood there with me was a guy named Danny. He plays drums in a band called Tool. Maynard would hang out with me. The guy Scott from Stone Temple Pilots, they would hang out, and we, even the Delio brothers from Stone Temple Pilots, they were out there handing out flyers, and it was every night. We'd go to all different clubs. We'd all see each other, all those guys that were trying to make it. Yeah. We had an ambition to make it. And when I started doing DYB and I started getting an identity and I, got the logo on my, that was one of the things, logo with a little brush and all that, but my name, painting. And it to me, it felt like, again, when I'm a young man, when I was passing out my flyers and I'm building my brand, my identity, and I'm trying to make it, and I love that part of it. now as my company, where you know you're going to make raving fans of your company. You're built, you know, you have a list of people that you're building with. You're you know that it's just you know. So when I did join DYB, when I did see your stuff, when I did figure all that's double your business, it didn't stand for Dybdahl, you know, because my lineage has all been called DYB. They all call us Dib.
That's
all
awesome.
of us, even, you know, look it up. We're all Dibbies. So, but that just, it gave me a lot of hope and things for ambition. And as you get older, if you're not one of these crumbly guys that's like, well, this is the way we all done it. This is how it's done. And you can look and, you know, I have a hard time with technology, but technology has helped me tremendously, you know, through making videos and all that stuff. Maybe I should have talked more about that, and I have to get more into that and the consistency that you can have with that. But that's it. You know, that's the fun part. I'm making videos of my work, and it could just be straight painting a house, but just like you'd make videos for your band and you're showcasing your music and your band, well, you're showcasing your stuff. And that, you can tell I get excited about it. You know, you can tell, you can feel it, because it's that something that you can drive. You have, you know, ambition to look forward to, and you're continuing to move. And you know, I don't know if a lot of guys. I'm not looking forward to retiring, because I don't think I'm gonna retire. What am I retiring from? This is fun. I'm going for it. I'm doing it. You know what I mean? Let's go forward. Let's move this band forward. You know, let's rock out like the Rolling Stones. They ain't retiring either. Look at Mick Jagger. He got moves like Mick Jagger. Anyway, so that's the one thing about, you know, the DYB process, getting your brand, getting your company. Then, and also, you know, the other thing I never had was a company vision, where, you know, now it's not just, well, we're going to paint some stuff and I do some awesome work, I do some faux, you know, whatever. It's that I can now provide a place for other people to work and a good environment, provide for their family, learn a skill that they can take with them, with me or without me. And I'm providing a service to the community that knows me, that I've been involved in now. And then I now can provide a service for this community that is a good experience for everyone as well, you know, and be part of the community in every aspect. I mean, if you make more money in your business, you can help volunteer and you can help more people. You have more time, more freedom to do those things. And it does impact people. It really does. I mean, you don't know what you're doing until, you know, you do get a few years behind you. And you look back and you know, those people are going, wow. And you're like, oh, okay, that did work. So anyway.
Awesome. So cool. What's your Instagram if somebody wanted to reach out and connect and they need to connect?
It's Paul_Dybdahl or The Real Dybdahl Painting. Unfortunately, I had a great Instagram and somebody hacked it. I had over 1,400 followers. I got linked by I did work for this guy, Emilio Rivera, who's in Sons of Anarchy, he's in Mayans. He's going to be in that new Hot Cheeto movie. He's a great guy. And I don't know how I hook up all these celebrities and stuff. I am in LA, but I mean, like, this guy lives down the street from me, just happens to be, and got my name, and I did some work for him. And then he linked me to his Instagram, and my Instagram blew up. It was crazy. Awesome. And then somebody hacked it, which was unfortunate. So I have a new one.
Yep. And what is it again? The new one?
Paul Dybdahl, just Paul_Dybdahl, or The Real Dybdahl Painting.
Okay, and Dybdahl is DYB.
DYB.
HL. Yep. Yeah, right.
D as in David, Y. B as in boy. D as in David, AHL.
That's it.
Yeah. We're Norwegian.
Right. Well, Paul, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you.
It's an honor and pleasure to know and to work with you.
Thank you. Glad we could do it.
Bye.
Yeah.